I have to leave in the middle of the day to go take my antihistamines, and it's always been a problem. My employees are like, we don't like you doing that, SparkleDart, you're always doing that, you're always running around, leaving, not telling us where you're going, really, and it's always just been a thing in my life. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome all you actors and various humanoids back to SparkleDart. Today we're going to be playing this game. It's about an orange man in pants. He's kind of naked, if you ask me. Typically, we like to wear shirts or vests depending on how hot it is outside. During the summer months, during the winter months, it's okay if you put on a jacket. It's fine, really. It doesn't matter what you do, because what you do is your own thing, and I would not like to wish that on anybody, not even my own worst enemy. So if you're going to be wearing pants, at least try to wear like a tank top or something. I'm not here to judge, but I will judge if it becomes a little bit excessive. And you know what, Mr. Orange Man, it has become excessive. What are you, from New Jersey? See, the thing is, the joke is that in New Jersey, they like to lay out on the beach. They like to lay out on the beach when they're hanging out and, you know, sunbathing or whatever they do on, oh my gosh, excuse me. On the Jersey Shore, they like to lay it on the beach, soak up the UV rays. UV rays are, of course, bad for you, and we know that they cause cancer now, and that's kind of a problem for people who are sensitive to sunlight, because it's especially worse for them. They get the brunt end of the stick, if you ask me. Now, being Italian, I'm pretty well off as far as getting sunburns go, because, you know, I've got pretty dark skin. People refer to it as olive. I don't know about that. I've always kind of seen olive as being like a greenish color, not so much a pale color like human skin is, but, I mean, what would I know? I'm not really much of an artist. I can't look at a color and tell you what it is if it's not like red or orange or yellow or blue or one of the primary or secondary colors. It's not one of those, so I couldn't tell you what the difference is. And it's always been a thing. My art teacher said, well, SparkleDart, you got a lot of potential, son, but why can't you tell me what color this is? This is like royal blue or royal purple or tickle me pink or seafoam green. But no, you just say it's green or yellow or orange or purple. I might have said purple twice. I'm not sure if I did. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It was kind of a mistake. It was an honest mistake. It was a mistake that, you know what, anybody could have made that mistake. I made that mistake just now, and that was kind of my thing. So, I apologize. So now we're going into the snow, and I got a funny story about snow. Back in the old day, back when I was a little baby boy, bouncing baby boy, on my daddy's lap, he would used to take me out snowmobiling. No, I was gonna say snowboarding, but he never did that. We never had mountains high enough for that. So he used to take me out snowmobiling, and we had a Yamaha that we would take out to the countryside where people would typically ATV during the day, but since it was snowing out, we didn't have that luxury, and we never had an ATV anyway, so we always had to take out the Yamaha snowmobile, and that was kind of cool, but the kids always made fun of me at school because I never had an ATV, even though I'm pretty sure Johnny never had an ATV either. He always laughed about it, though, and it kind of made me wonder whether or not he was just trying to be cool. I was kind of a dork back in the school days. Let me tell you what. I was kind of a dork, and people laughed at me, and I was never really too bent out of shape about it, because I know that you can just brush that stuff right off your shoulder. You can just, you know, make sure people aren't at least trying to take advantage of you, then you'll be fine. But nobody ever tried to take advantage of me. They just pushed me around and called me a nerd, which I guess was cool. I used to hang out and play on my computer all the time. I played a game called Doom 2, and it was real fun, especially when I got Jeremy and Alan to play with me. We would all play Doom 2 death matches, or whatever they called it, I don't really remember because it was such a long time ago, and you know, I remember a couple of kids got in trouble for playing Doom 2 too much, and they went to high school one day and acted out some of their fantasies. That was always weird to me, and I kind of stopped after that. Actually, I didn't really stop. My mom told me to stop playing that game. She got me some more wholesome games like the Mario game and the Rayman game, which was a little too hard if you ask me. There was one level that I always got to where they had music notes flying around, and the game was fun and it was colorful and it was neat, but I never got past the one with the music notes. They were stabbing me and bouncing on me and like pushing me down holes and shit, and there was like a dragonfly, or gosh, I don't even remember. It was such a long time ago. I had a PlayStation is what they called it back in the day. I think they're up to like 5 now. They got like 5 PlayStations. They got a lot of PlayStations, and if you want to play video games, I would recommend getting a PlayStation if you like to play like just normal games. If you like to play colorful, happy games, I would recommend the Nintendo Wii they got out. It's real cool. I would get one if I wasn't so concerned with revealing my sexuality. People think that you're gay if you play Nintendo, and I don't know if that's necessarily true, but that's what they've always told me at school. So I'm like, well, I'm just gonna stick with the Xbox, because if I play that Nintendo game, then they're gonna think I'm gay, and I don't want that. I can't have that. I'm an impressionable young man in high school who knows a lot about what's right and what's wrong. But when the other kid's telling you that what you're doing is wrong, you gotta believe them. If you don't, you'll get bullied, and I don't like getting bullied. I mean, it's not like I'm in high school anymore, but those values stuck with me. They were always part of my person, even if I never thought that they were true or agreed with what people were saying. It always kind of stuck with me, and I was never really super comfortable with going against the social norm. That was interesting, what just happened there. I was never really comfortable with going against the social norm, even though it didn't really make a difference, in my opinion, what I did, because the kids, they would laugh at you no matter what. If you were an easy target, if you let them laugh at you, they would laugh at you, and that's just kind of how it was. And I like to think that I made it clear that I was not okay with that, and sometimes I would join them when they were picking on the lessers than me. I know that that sounds wrong, but you got to make a stand for yourself. You got to let your peers know that what they're doing is not okay. Sometimes by joining in what they're doing and saying that it is okay. When you got people like Alex, who would always fart in class and blame it on the teacher. That was kind of funny that he would do that. I don't see how he could possibly think he would get away with something like that, because a teacher, sometimes he was at the front of the class, and the fart noises would be coming from the back of the class, or since Alex was such a nerd, he'd always sit right up in front, and we'd always hear them coming from his desk. And it's like, Alex, you know, fella, I can sympathize with you. We've all been there. We farted accidentally. I did that one time in class in front of my crush, and she was all like, "Well, that's disgusting, SparkleDart. Why would you fart right in class? Why would you like not go to the bathroom or excuse yourself? Maybe go out to the playground or something and fart in the slide." Kids like to fart in the slide all the time. That's what they did. That's why the slide always smelled. And one time it got condemned because some kid had diarrhea in there. I don't know why they condemned the whole slide instead of just closing it down for a day and like cleaning it out. But let me tell you, it was disgusting, and I never went down that slide again because I saw the brown leaking from the bottom of it, and that was the grossest thing that I ever saw, short of seeing a cat get run over by a four-wheeler. And that was pretty gross, too. It wasn't my cat, it was my neighbor's cat, and that cat was kind of rude. He once hissed at me just for trying to pet his face, and he's like, "Well, I'm a cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I'm going to dance, 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 and I'm going to dance, dance, dance." That's a little joke for you internet nerds out there. That's a joke from the albino black sheep days. Take that as you will. If you've never seen the video, go check it out. It's Kitty Cat Dance Party. It's good video. I'd check it out. He's got glow sticks. He's got dancing. He's got dings and dangs. It's a good video. I'd check it out. It goes up there with the likes of End of the World and the Group X. The Group X one that used to dance all the time. Oh, pardon me. Did I really not get the crystal? Oh, that's a shame. I gotta go back into that world then. Okay, so we're gonna try this round 2 again. We're gonna go play the Pit Level, which is what it was called. It was called The Pits, like that show on Fox that aired in like 2004 alongside Malcolm in the Middle. It was about an unfortunate family that wasn't... it was basically Everybody Loves Raymond, but with unlucky people. And you might think that that sounds like a good show, and you might think that that sounds like the same show even. But the thing is, that show, it just didn't have very good jokes. Basically, it's like if you were to watch Leave It to Beaver or The Wonder Years with Dan Lauria, the dad from The Wonder Years, but just take out all the things that made those shows good for their time. Just strip them all away, and then that's what you'll have when you watch The Pits. I think it aired for 3 episodes after Futurama got canceled, of course. It aired for 3 episodes, and then I don't know if they made a whole season or not. It was probably like a mid-season show that was replacing something else that got canceled, like the Greg the Bunny or According to Jim or whatever the show was with the universe. You know the one that I'm talking about, not Cosmo, but the one, some man controls the universe. I don't remember the name right now because it was just not, it did not make a very good impression on my life and who I am and who I chose to be after I watched that show. I was just like, well, that wasn't a very good show, and I'm going to change my values and my moral ethics and become a better person for watching something so terrible. Of course, Malcolm in the Middle, that was a good show. It was about a boy who was decided to live with this family, and it was like a documentary. The boy was always looking at the camera, talking to the camera, and just relaying his life living with these people. He was always talking about what it was like to live with the mom and the dad and the drug dealers. It was a good show. I liked the show. There was a brother. His name was Jamie and Dewey and Reese and Witherspoon. I never really understood the premise of it because it didn't make sense to me why this young 10-year-old man would be living with his family. But I digress. Let me tell you. So, somewhere along the line, the dad, who was played by Bryan Cranston, decided to start making meth. And meth is a pretty hard drug to do, especially if you got people in your life who've done meth. You know what it's like. You know it can ruin lives. People don't really understand when they start doing a drug how hard it can really take a toll on their life. And after a while, those drugs can become all you think about, all you crave. You gotta start thinking about your next fix. And to be quite honest, alcohol is the same way. People drink alcohol and they're like, well, I can't wait until I get off of work so I can start drinking again because that's what I like to do. I like to drink alcohol and I like to watch Futurama all night. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that Futurama is a really good show. And if you can't enjoy something like Futurama without drinking alcohol, maybe you got a problem. That's all I'm going to say. I like to have a beer myself too, but I don't let it control my life. I would drink a beer, maybe 2 or 3 a night if I go out with my buddies, but when I gotta work, and let me tell you, you gotta make sure you do the best that you can when you go to work, because if you don't do the best that you can, then you get fired, and then you don't have money for booze anymore, and that's just the way we do it, I guess. So we're playing the Boulder game. Boulder Dash is what it's called. Boulder Dash. It was a board game made by Milton Bradley in the 1990s, and I don't remember what it was about, but you fell in the hole, I guess, and that was what we're doing now. So, Boulder Dash, Milton Bradley. Let's talk about board games. Board games are a lot better than electronic games because it stimulates the brain. It makes you think a little bit more. It gets the cerebral cortex a-flowing, right? So you gotta make sure you bring in the A game so you can take on your friends in Monopoly. You know, maybe they bought Park Place or Boardwalk Avenue, and you gotta try to get in there and take it from them. If you don't, then you're just gonna lose, and that's the way you play the game. If you land on Boardwalk and your buddy friend has both Boardwalk and Park Place, and you're gonna be paying upwards of $2,000 if they got a hotel on there. Now, I don't know about you, but in Monopoly, you start out with $2,500, and if you've been buying properties the whole time and not really making a profit, then, oh, I didn't get the crystal on that one either? What the heck? Excuse me. So if your friend's buying Boardwalk and Park Place, basically what I'm saying is you're screwed, because you start out with $2,500 and you don't really make much money after that until you start getting monopolies, and you don't really start getting monopolies until you've got around the board like 5 or 6 times. And considering that each Monopoly board has 40 squares on it, and each standard set of dice has 12 possible numbers that you can roll, you're not going to be getting around that board super fast unless you take a chance and go to Community Chest. And it tells you to go directly to go. Pardon me. Do not pass Kentucky Avenue or Illinois Avenue or whatever. That's just the way that they do it. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of rules. Everybody plays differently. Honestly, I have a rule where all of the expenses like income tax and luxury tax and anything from Community Chest or Chance goes into the middle of the board. And I bet I ran right past that fucking crystal earlier, huh? And if you land on free parking, which is right up in the opposite adjacent side of go to jail and jail, of course. Gonna have to get that crystal again, I guess. No, I still have it. All right. So yeah, that's the rule. You gotta land on free parking to get all that extra cash. But once you get that cash, it's yours, and you can do with it whatever you like. And anybody who lands on any of the, extra payment squares or cards or whatever pays into that pool, and then somebody gets it. It's a fun game. It's nice. It's wholesome. Of course, it can lead to some arguments, but that's really up to you and your friends to decide on the rules. That's why you gotta have house rules established with your friends by the time you start playing the game. If you don't do that, then you're gonna run into disagreements. They're gonna be like, well, if you land on go, you get double the payment, and you'll be like, no, you don't. What are you thinking? That's stupid. That's the worst thing that's the worst rule I ever heard. Please leave my house. It's actually an apartment building, so I might have to let you out because the door locks from the inside and the outside. It's the weirdest thing I ever did see. But I didn't know that when I moved in here, and they told me that only after I got my key. So I'm going to have to let you out, but I hope we can still be friends after this because I paused the game, I guess. Okay, so you're making friends with board games and board game enthusiasts. This is kind of what you have to deal with on a daily basis. They always want to play Hangman or Sorry. Sorry's a fun game if you're not a complete asshole. They call it Sorry for a reason. The reason being that if you play it with your friends, you're gonna have a bad time because it's all about knocking pieces around, sending them back to the start. Just kind of making it a bad time for everybody, whatever. It's up to you how to play the game, but there's a very general set of rules, and it's not hard to follow. But if you want to set up your own rules, I guess that's fine. That's not up to me. I mean, board games, honestly, it's a whole different ballpark than the electronic games, I think. I think people got bored. Excuse my little pun here with board games. And decided that maybe they wanted to try out a little bit something new, especially with the new oscilloscope technology that they were developing at the time when they made Pong and Pac-Man and Donkey Kong and Crazy Taxi and all that stuff. They were experimenting with something new. They were making a change in the world, and whether it was a change for the better or the worse, I couldn't really tell you. It's not like Mortal Kombat or Tekken or Street Fighter where you feed quarters into the game. Really, what you're doing is you're playing it on your TV with 2 little paddles that have little red buttons on them, and it's fun for a while up until the point where one person gets really good at the game and starts to hold a monopoly on the whole thing, if you know what I'm saying. So, moral of the story, board games are fun, have fun, be fun, do it fun. Okay. Have fun. Bye, guys. Mwah.